It's taken me a minute to find the right word because selfish isn't it, but I realized it's being self loyal, and that feels really good. I realized my whole message is about you not self abandoning and being self loyal to yourself. I had three conversations this week, technically four if you include the conversation I had with my dad today when we went for lunch at a pub up the street. I had three conversations this week, so unexpected, so unplanned, but the common theme is self abandonment because of lack of self loyalty. Let me tell you something. Those sessions at the hair salon, baby, those sessions at the lash studio, laying on that bed, those sessions are something because therapy happens in salons. When you go to get yourself cared for, you get your soul cared for in the same token. And I'm grateful for the women that have served that space for me and that we create a safe space for each other to have those moments. So, shout out to my lash tech, shout out to my hairstylist, and shout out to my girlfriend who did not know she would make it to this video today, but her conversation really resonated with me this week. After talking to those three ladies, right? So, we're slightly back, okay? Took the crochet down, did a blowout, doing more in a couple days. But after having some random conversations this week, we we do a lot of self-abandoning, and it makes my heart hurt because it shows up in so many different ways. If you are someone that has gone through trauma, if you've gone through a heartbreak, if you've gone through divorce, if you've gone through some toxic situations with jobs, coworkers, people in your life, friendships that were mismanaged, um, if you've gone through anything like that, at some point in time, you lost your way. You lost how to care for yourself because you overtly poured into other people. You went above and beyond for those who wouldn't return it. You show up every single day faithfully to this job, coming home on with fumes because you have nothing left to give. And my girlfriend was expressing her frustration with life, with work. Being a mom of four is a joy, but she feels like she has no time for herself. She has no time at the end of the day. By the time she's got up, gone to work, worked this job, which has sucked a lot out of her, went home, picked up the kids, went home, make dinner, get everybody ready for bed. Now she's left trying to tend to herself, and her dreams kind of just sit on the shelf and collect a little dust. But she thinks about them every single day. She thinks about them every single day. They don't leave her mind. She just can't figure out how to navigate it. And she shared with me a word. I got her permission to kind of talk about this a little bit. She shared with me a word that her therapist helped her unpack pertaining to herself, and it was the word helpless. She feels very helpless right now. And when she shared that with me, I was just like, wow. And then it just made me think, how many other women are on this hamster wheel? This wheel, you okay? Girl, her and that collagen bone. How many other women and people are on this hamster wheel of wanting to do more, but lost in their identity, feeling like they don't know who they are and they don't know where to start? Those are the moments where you got to kind of sit with that and start subtracting some things, because it's not about adding, it's about pausing and figuring out, okay, where are we going haywire here? And I was kind of coaching her through it a little bit with the voice messaging, to not elevate her productivity, because that's not what she needs more of, but to reduce her current load so she can actually create capacity and space to just marinate. Sometimes you got to just marinate either for a day or give yourself multiple days until you can build up a small little habit of loving yourself and giving yourself time to dream. I remember when I moved back home to Michigan 2 years in March. It'll be 2 years this coming March. And I sat for a while like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I didn't start grad school at the time. I was just working this job and it wasn't really my career. I kind of fell into it. So it felt like I am just kind of going with the flow, but I know I don't want to do that. I just don't know what I want to do and how to get there. My brain felt very frazzled. I felt like I was at capacity. Any ask of me felt too heavy, and I didn't know how to explain that. And sometimes I would leave my text messages for the weekend. That may sound odd, but I would not reply to text messages throughout the week because I didn't have the emotional capacity. I quite literally didn't have the capacity. And trying to put into words how I was expressing and feeling was so hard because it's like I looked fine. I looked like, oh, she moved back home. Okay, she's probably going through a healing thing, you know. But inside, I felt like I was like breaking and completely falling apart after a while. I did not understand, like, Lord, why did you call me back here? Because I had started to rebuild my life in Atlanta. I started going on dates. I had my like dream apartment. Girl, I was paying rent for this apartment. I was doing things on my own and it felt so good to do them. I had that unicorn job. I had just got my puppy. I just got Cardi. I had community. I just I started really like elevating in a way that I'd never lived life before. I was out of survival mode for the first time in a very long time. And it felt like, whew, I want to say it felt like money. And I'm not saying money in the sense of like actual dollars, but it felt like a win. Like it felt like, wow. All right, Lord, like you shining on me. I could feel like the restoration happening in my body. My hair started growing back after it fell out from chemo. I got a trainer. I started losing the weight that I had gained during chemo and being like sedentary. Because, you know, after those surgeries, you're sitting for like 12 weeks. You can barely be active. I couldn't even lift my hands over my head. So many things about me started coming to life. I had found a church that I was involved in. I was serving in the kids ministry. I just felt like I was starting to get it together. And then God told me and I heard it very crystal clear, very clear. I could sense and tell and hear the direction for my life to come back home to Michigan. And I couldn't like, I couldn't like shake it. And to come back home. And then a couple months later, it was like a breaking and a rebuild. I thought I was good, but apparently I was not. It was like good for that moment, but it wasn't foundation good. It wasn't like, oh yeah, this concrete, like, ain't nothing gonna fall on this. It was like shaky foundation. Like we probably sitting on like 4 big stones. And that's what God showed me when he called me back home. And he removed me from a lot of the noise in Atlanta. He removed me from everybody out there. He removed me from my lifestyle. He removed me from the dating. He just removed me from all of it and placed me here in my childhood bedroom, 10 by 10, back at my mama and daddy's house in little old part of Michigan. In the country, girl, where you go see raccoons, possums, deer, like everything. I'm very used to wild turkey, horses. We got everything. We got what you want. We got what you need. Okay. And I was like, okay. I cannot tell you how many moments I had in that backyard facing the fence because I didn't want my parents to see me crying. Upset, broken, confused, frazzled. My days were like that for weeks and then a couple months. And I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing. I would go driving around just to try to relieve my mind. And I didn't understand what God was doing in me until I understood recently, almost 2 years later, what he was doing in me. And let me tell you, being in a season where you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want, and you don't know where to start, feels like one of the most frustrating experiences a person can have. And it's especially hard after it feels like you've just fallen. And not even from a particular level, but it just feels like you've just fallen. Like why is my life like this? I am 35, I was 35 at the time, not married, no living children since my son passed away almost 9 years ago. He was a stillborn. I'm back at my parents' house, and I feel like, what do I have going on for me? Yes, I just beat breast cancer, but why am I here? And it felt like I was behind. I felt ashamed. I felt dismantled, like just completely tore up. And I had to spend so much time trying to just piece it back together and praying and being in God's word. And like, just, I found a women's Bible study group that I clinged to. I listened to one pastor, not 12, because I didn't need the overwhelm. Removed a lot of people that I followed. Some friendships ended, and I had to just let them end. I spent time where it felt safe. I talked to people that felt safe. I leaned into my workouts. Um, my trainer was, he's like a big brother to me. He's very, close to our family, but it's just like, I just leaned into small things. I started spending time outside more. I started remembering things about my childhood that I loved. And I don't know if it was the nostalgia of being back home or just small moments that I quieted everything out. I got off social media for like months. I did a detox and I was just gone. And I would just wander. I was like wandering. I started taking little mini trips, sometimes by myself, sometimes to visit friends in different states. It was just it was such an interesting time, but those micro moments of joy, I think, really started to heal me. I journaled so much. I kept my journal with me, and I didn't question every thought in a way of like, I'm probably, that's crazy. No, I journaled it. I journaled it. And I journaled the things that I started piecing together. My love for willow trees. Like, oh my God, why do I love willow trees? Why do I love outdoors? I learned about myself in small, mini moments of joy, and then gave myself permission to accept that's who I am. And I guess I was really just rebuilding who I am, because I had been living outside of myself for such a long time. I rode the wave of other people's joy instead of creating the wave of my own, if that makes sense. I stayed in places longer than I should have with the hopes or potential of love and elevated experiences. I made decisions based off of other people's joy instead of truly asking myself, what do I really want? And I had to face all of that. And it's messy, hard work. I'm still unraveling things about myself like an onion. It's like an onion peeling back every single tiny slither of a layer. I'm still learning things about myself. But let me tell you, in the mess of that work, that it's been about 2 years now on this side, and I say this side since I've moved back to Michigan, that unraveling post cancer, post all the other things has been so profound. But learning things about myself has literally been setting me free. It has been giving me power. It's been giving me autonomy. It showed me where I abandoned myself. It has given me my voice back. It has given me um, just this confidence. And this, even showing up here on YouTube, I think this is what is this? Day 64, 65. I would have never imagined that this would have stayed here. This dream of talking to y'all like this would have just stayed here, because I would have been stuck, crippled by perfectionism, because it had me in a chokehold for years. And the fact that I'm just walking, I feel like I feel like I'm if I close my eyes, I feel like I'm walking up a cloud. Each step that I take is like on a cloud, and it's moving me up one and up one and up one and up one. Like, that's how I feel like my life is right now. And it's like, man, I guess I'm just in awe because of everything it took to get here that I didn't know that I needed, but God knew I needed. And hearing the messages in the message from my girlfriend in her voice memo about just where she was at, and then talking to my lash tech and then my hairstylist the other day, I was like, man, we really have got to give ourselves permission to stop abandoning and have more self loyalty. And that's learned. That is, you have to learn how to do that. That has to be a choice in your every single day, like your daily decisions, one decision at a time. And it could be something so small as like, no, actually, we're not having spaghetti for dinner. We having steaks and I don't know, mashed potatoes, whatever. Like, it starts in those small moments where you start speaking up for yourself. Actually, no, I thank you so much for reaching out. I'm unavailable for that. That's a boundary. Actually, no, thank you so much for offering, but I won't be able to make it. Actually, I want to communicate how you made me feel when you shared X, Y, and Z. I realized that it's still not sitting well with me, and I want to talk through that. Actually, I would prefer you not to call me so many times in a day. Whatever. It's just a choice. It's just a decision. It's just one decision at a time, one decision per day to start building this whole new version of yourself, to start showing yourself you have power and you have autonomy. And don't ever like, what's the word I'm trying to say here? Don't sleep on the micro moments is what that's not the word, but that's the word right now. Don't sleep on the micro moments that it takes to build up to who you need to be, to build up to the voice that you need to have, to build up to the things that are working in you and that you're changing and that you're transitioning. Don't ever sleep on any of that, because that every single day, that muscle every single day, that habit every single day, that is what builds the sustainability. That is what builds your solid foundation. That is what allows you to be self loyal. That is what allows you to stop abandoning, to reduce the people pleasing, to actually set up boundaries. Those are the things that get you to the next thing. Sometimes you don't need 50 11 tasks. Like, it's just reducing what you have now, taking a step back and going deep. And a lot of us like to avoid the deep, because the deep means you either got to have some type of acceptance, you got to face the reality, you got to sit in the comfort. You may be crying for a while, you may be depressed. It's almost just like a whole, like, it's like a whole rebirth. It's like a rebirth. It quite literally is like a rebirth. And until you experience that rebirth, you are quite literally putting on band-aids on a bunch of different scars that aren't going to heal the way that they need to heal. Because you ain't add no ointment, you didn't put on no peroxide, you didn't do any of that. Like, you just, it was bleeding. Oh, let me just slap this on it. No cocoa butter, baby, no shea butter, no Vaseline. Like, you ain't add nothing to that. We can't do that. We can't do that this year. And I'm calling us out. I'm calling us higher. Same way I gave my lash tech a hair of homework, and I will be following up with her. The same way I gave my girlfriend a voice memo with a little bit of homework. I'm following up with her. I'm calling you out, and I'm calling you higher. And I'm calling you to the rebirth in the work that you need to do. And if you're in a space and a season where maybe an actual therapist isn't available or an option, I know that many other people are trying to make that more affordable and more practical for people, which is beautiful. If that is not an option for you right now, find a good self-help book that can be an option to get you started. Start somewhere, because I would much rather you start somewhere than nowhere. I have a good, let me see if I can show you. Hold on. I have this book. So I keep my serious books over here on my nightstand, okay? So this one in particular, I am not deep in it, but I just know, I know this is going to be something. The Book of Shadow Work. I mean, just these, you see my little bookmark here, so I'm not deep, but like just those first 20, 30, 40 pages, 46 pages, I was like, ooh, girl. Okay, get you a book that can at least help be a guide for you to get you started with peeling back the layers. When you know who you are, you, oh, when you know who you are, the power in what you know will pave the way for how you proceed for it. I mean, when you know who you are, can't nobody tell you otherwise. When you have the self awareness of your opportunities, of the gaps, and I'm not talking from a place of perfectionism, I'm talking from a place of relationship. When you are in a relationship with yourself and you understand continually the gaps, the areas of opportunities, the strengths that you have, the whimsical things that bring you joy, what you love, what you don't love, what are your negotiables, what are your non negotiables, what pattern did you used to have back in the day that didn't serve you well. But what pattern does serve you well? What pattern is a lack of boundary setting because you're allowing people pleasing to happen so strongly that you can catch it when it comes up? What pattern of self awareness do you have that stands out when you can be like, oh, yep, clocked it. Like, I see that, got it. Like, when you are in a relationship with yourself like that, I am telling you, the person that you start to turn into, the person that you evolve into, Alexa, stop. Did it again. I gotta remember, turn it off. It's just this whole new experience of life. And life then becomes available and experienced from a completely different lens. Completely different lens. And it's just this like, I love being in a relationship with myself. I love it so much. I seek to know more about myself. I seek to have a better understanding. And I seek to live in my truth. When you say live in your truth or live from your truth, that is a person that has done some deep rooted work that has been able to like extract or excavate this this like whole embodied person from starting to choose to do that work. And I'm telling you, even like I feel like I'm in the thick of it right now from the past 2 years. Man, it's hurt. It has hurt. It has been hard. It has been lonely. It felt isolating. It felt disheartening. It felt joy. It felt peace. It felt like wow. Some days felt like, okay, this is enough. Some days felt like, oh, you're trying to reach for more. Some days felt like, yeah, some days felt like all of that. And I wouldn't change that for anything. I wouldn't change it. The tears, the laughs, the cries, the relationship I have with myself today versus the relationship I had 2 years ago. The things that I settled for and put up with 2 years ago aren't the things that I hold space for today. Um, Man, this is a different level of loving. This is a different level of loving myself. And this is a level that I probably haven't had since I was a little girl. We know inner child work is something also very different. And I spent my time doing a lot of that this past 2 years. And it's served me very well, even in the midst of all of those feelings and emotions I shared with you. So when I hear my girlfriend and my, other friends just talking about the struggle and the disconnect that they have from themselves and their lack of identity, their lack of their voice, being postpartum, and so much has changed for them, or mothering different now without a spouse, and so much has changed. When I hear those things, my heart feels for that, because while I don't understand the innate circumstance, I understand the result of some of those feelings pertaining to the circumstance. And that work, that work, boy, I tell you, don't avoid that work. That work is something different. Something different. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm going to leave on that note, but tell me where you're at in your journey and what stood out to you with this video of the work. If you feel like you've been avoiding, if you feel like you've been intentional with seeking and connecting, if you feel like you've been on this journey for a while now. I heard somebody say before, girl, when does this healing journey end? I was like, honey, I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I think when you finish one chapter or one moment, you may pick up another, because I feel like it is just like this. Like, it's ebbing and flowing. I feel like that's the healing journey. We may get strong here, and then we keep going and got to get strong here, and then we keep going and we get strong here, and then we keep going and we get strong here. And it's like all of those waves build power over time, over repetition, over seasons, right? If you let them, they build power if you let them, because you can either be a victim of your situation and circumstances, or you can be a victor of your situation and your circumstances. But regardless, you got to remember, joy is available for you, but it's most available for you when you allow the Lord to fill you up, when you allow Him to come in, when you allow Him to do what He has to do, and when you allow Him to mend your heart and build it back stronger. When you choose to be a victor of your situations. And you ask me how I know? I can only tell you how I know. From stage 2 breast cancer and losing my son 36 weeks in my pregnancy. That's how I know. Because trust me, I didn't sign up for either of those clubs, and I cannot fake joy. Okay? And I will cry still in 2 seconds. I am unashamed. If I gotta cry, baby, I'm gonna cry. But I hope this landed. I hope this made sense. I know this is kind of like a different type of video I think that I would normally make. I hope this made sense. Because, girl, what did you just say for the past 27 minutes? Oh my gosh. If you're new here, welcome to the family. I hope you stay for a while. Introduce yourself in the comments so I can even meet you. What video did you even find me on? Or maybe this is the video. This video out of all the videos. But until the next video, y'all, I love y'all. I hope y'all take great care of yourselves, and we'll talk soon. All right. Peace out.